Hello, everybody. You are looking at a story here that I saw on LinkedIn. It's written by a gentleman named David Sable. It's called "The Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get TVs." And I want to take a different track on this article than you're probably going to hear. Probably two typical paths. One, you'll probably hear from some marketers, or you'll probably hear from some people that'll say, "Well, of course that's going to be the case. If folks would get rid of their TVs and they'd start working on themselves and get education, then they could kind of better themselves. There's access to information. That's already well documented, and I'm pretty sure that'll get said about this article." Um, the other thing that you'll hear, and I think that probably the point that this gentleman is trying to make here, he's trying to make I think, a really subtle point about the fact that the way our society is, that people have access to information, but they don't really have access to things that'll really help them. So, it's like them to go and buy, a big screen TV or to have access to all this technology, but yet not really have the means to do what they really need to do for their lives. That's probably going to get said too. I want to take a different track on this article. I hope that you'll go read it anyway. You'll have your own thoughts about it. But one of the points that's made in this article is this: that what is digital is becoming commonplace, and what's real, right, or what's in person, is raising in value. And that's kind of been my feeling about about those of us who are information marketers, that I think, and I still believe that there's a market for information. I think there's a market for information on a personal level, face to face. I think there's a market for information on the local level, and probably some of the evidence that some of that gap hasn't been filled is, you'll notice that I think newspapers are leaving because they haven't been able to figure out how to do it profitably. It's not that there's not a need for information, it's just that they can't necessarily do it profitably anymore because a lot of the advertising is moving online. And I think that that's an opportunity. I mean, that's an opportunity for us to, for those of us who are marketing information, to be up close and personal with people locally, up close and personal with people regionally, and that instead of fighting it out, in the red ocean, right, where everybody's competing, with every kind of gimmick and every kind of trick, rather than to really be personal with people right there, at the level. In other words, that people do want to meet real people. There are people who really want to touch, like, the author. They want to meet the product creator. They want to meet the person. They want to see a real phone number. And I think, part of what we do, as marketers, we kind of sometimes, I think, the nature of the industry, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, right, is that we sort of hide behind the website. We hide behind, a phone number. And I think that there's still a market, for those of us who can be personal. So that's kind of my take on this article. That might not be your take. I mean, like I said, I picked a point that's there near the end. You might pick a point out of there, and you might actually kind of get into what he's really trying to say. But I think one of the points in here just really drives me to just think that there's really that market for information that I think we may be missing, that in kind of channeling ourselves into these boxes of offline consulting and information marketing, which is international and global. I think that there is a market for information marketing there regionally and globally that is void, left by newspapers, magazines that have not yet figured out how to do this profitably. And it's just something that those of us who are, kind of in this game, we sort of know how to do. Okay, so when you read this, let me know what your thoughts are. Maybe your thoughts are, pretty commonly, that if we could teach more people how to do what we do, then they'll have more of an incentive, not to be in front of televisions and all that other stuff. So maybe that's what you think, but I'd be happy to know what you think about not just the article, but just the thrust of my argument, which is that there's a gap for those of us to find these new markets or to hack information marketing to be there regionally and globally. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.